Born in Minnesota, MERLYN Stone was raised a strict Catholic, attended Catholic school, and served as an altar boy. At one point, he was even offered a private scholarship to enter the seminary. His entire life was actually devoted to mysticism, beginning with his presentation of illusionary stage-type magic as a youth, and later making contributions to the practical magic world. A musician, writer, artist, and overall Renaissance prodigy, MERLYN existed as an enigma at the end of the 20th century. MERLYN Stone became actively interested in the Druid tradition and Neo-Druidry simultaneously with Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering at the age of 12. He went on to form several study groups, internet forums, and working covens in the mid-90s and over the years, including the Mystics of the Earth, MODE, the Draconic Celtic Lodge of Druids, DCLOD, and the Elven Fellowship Circle of Magic, FCOM, none of which remained active once MERLYN disappeared from the New Age movement in 2001. At one point, he was even considered the youngest initiate of the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, OBOD, before being unseated by the Council. While forming and leading magical groups, MERLYN Stone operated a small publishing press for 3 years, beginning with the publication of training materials for FCOM in 1998 called The Sorcerer's Handbook. It was followed up with a series of shorter companion volumes, The Young Sorcerer, Crystalline Awakening, Necronomicon, Druid's Bible, and Akasha, the last which was actually attributed to the name Joseph Frade. These hard-to-find manuals were once distributed through Azure Green/Abyss distribution. While they no longer are being produced, 2,000 quote-unquote MERLYN Stone copies exist in circulation today. The focus of MERLYN Stone's curriculum is pragmatism. Only useful operations and techniques found to be effective are taught and used. The main tenet was originally to make the wealth of available magical material more useful and refined. This curriculum was later reorganized and released to the public in one volume as MERLYN's Magic, the Wizard's Secret Notebooks, in 2005. The legacy of MERLYN continues. MERLYN Stone is of course a pseudonym that was developed to protect a certain author. It was chosen prior to learning of a previous MERLYN Stone female author from the 1970s who chose the I rather than the Y spelling. Before disappearing from the New Age, MERLYN Stone was contacted by Daniel Harms, who later wrote a rather rough but honest review of the quote-unquote Stone Necronomicon, which was so frickin' rare, of which not even Stone himself still possesses a copy, except for the galleys, should it ever need to be reprinted, which it never will. It was actually John Gauntz who thrashed the entire MERLYN series altogether. Other online folk, like Ian Corrigan, have naively interpreted the entire thing as an illusion. But, of course, he must not have read Harman Gantz's work on the Necronomicon files because they actually had copies of several of MERLYN Stone's books. Luckily, they kinda got theirs from Simon in Dead Names. All of the MERLYN work was republished as MERLYN's Magic by Joshua Free, which is available anywhere online. The Arcanum book is available by personal arrangement until supplies of this edition run out. Nearly all of the Mardukite TV information not specifically attributed to someone else is actually based on Arcanum, a 300,000-word candidly written compendium on the physical universe. For more information on Arcanum, you can visit our website at mardukite.com. The Necronomicon was a constant source of fascination for MERLYN Stone, who was repeatedly attacked for advocating controversial systems. In 1999, he published a pocket-sized grimoire including many dead names not specific to the Sumerian Babylonian cycle. It was a much more generalized grimoire including many seals and sigils of ceremonial magic. This work too was attacked for the use of the title Necronomicon. A published mass-market attack appeared in the Necronomicon files in 2001 by Daniel Harms and John Wisdom Gauntz III, who had actually contacted Stone about this. Quote, "I would never have actually spoken to these naive bastards if I knew the end result was to call me the Beavis and Butthead of the occult," said Stone in the 2003 review. They question my intelligence openly by saying I expect pieces of poster board to open a threshold to another universe as if it were a hinged door. But honestly, if you are going to visualize a seal, then you might as well have a good bold representation of it." End quote. Harms and Gauntz attacked the Sorcerer's Handbook, 1998, of Stone's, written at age 15, in the same work, and they call it completely unworthy of publication. Ironically, the controversial materials were reprinted again more commercially in MERLYN's Magic in 2005, which included many of the same hints and tips for seeking students on the Necronomicon. Since you're here, we'll talk a little bit more about Merlin's Magick. It's often referred to as the book that almost wasn't. It was commissioned by MERLYN STONE in 2000 before disappearing from the New Age movement. It finally reached print in 2005, presented as the legacy of Stone, but with the authorship credit to Joshua Free. The book contains revisions of many of the self-published and self-distributed works of MERLYN STONE, including the underground bestseller The Sorcerer's Handbook. The premise of Merlin's Magick is that the seeking student should be equipped with all the necessary skills and tools to formulate their own personal eclectic magical system, whether solitarily or in groups. Many other introductory books on the system focus primarily on one or two of the systems, repeat information often, and offer a lot of anecdotal side writing. MERLYN STONE sought to create works in the style of antiquarian grimoires, making each page full of valuable pragmatic knowledge, which you could immediately put into practice. Very few magical references available will offer concise and reasonable guidelines for successful spellcraft or low magic endeavors, along with high magic and ceremonial arts of the Golden Dawn and Enochian systems. And since Stone is most notably a druid, there is much of nature magic to be found there as well.